You're listening to season 15 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm holding a baby that may not be mine.
Be sure to join the tailgate on Facebook at Virtual Tailgate or email us at virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com. Pull it together, Geoff.
All right, well, once again, it is time for the walking tall Tacova's player of the week. And speaking of confidence, one could say there's confidence in holding a baby and not being sure who the father is. But another thing about confidence is it's not just about what you wear, how you walk. For today in particular, I had a person out here, a couple of people were out here doing some trimming some trees, if you will, at my house. As I'm watching this man climb the tree and take down tree trunks and have it not land on fences or anyone, I'm thinking, what type of confidence it takes to climb that tree and do that work. But then I'm thinking even more. These guys work all day at my house and never ask to come in to use the bathroom. And then I ask, well, what happens when in a tree and you have to use the facilities? And I say, how such a miracle may happen. And I say, well, what would Jared do? Would he just hold it? History does not tell us this is to be possible. Create a hatch in the pants that button to drop scat from a treetop onto some unsuspecting person? Perhaps if he had the discipline, but I doubt it. More than likely, Jared in such a situation would barge in the customer's house like Kool-Aid Man, demand to know where your nearest commode was if time permitted, or just Melissa McCarthy it and use the kitchen sink. Which brings me back to my confidence of tree climbers. Unparalleled confidence to climb a tree, and unparalleled confidence to not take a dump at work. Now, how many of us can claim that? On to you, Andrew, for your player of the week.
But I want to compliment that, Geoff. I believe that you were putting together a work of art. I think it worked on a literal level, and I'm not quite sure what all the euphemisms were, and I'm not sure I want to know what was happening in your house with the scaling of the tree. Well, you were I don't know.
There were no euphemisms. That was all literal.
Let's just say that Geoff still has a broken garbage disposal in his house in the kitchen.
Well, I mean,
Death of
let's.
the author, Jeff. It
I'm
doesn't
just.
matter if you think there's a euphemism there or not. We
I'm
all
just gonna
we
say
all
there's
got it.
there's more than a 0% chance that Jared at some point takes a dump in my sink. That's all I'm saying.
Geoff, are you familiar with the phrase waffle stomp? Because your brother is.
All right. We're gonna kick off the
That was good work.
it really was. We're gonna kick off the players of the week here with the Duke Blue Devils. They had a 38 unanswered points in a comeback victory that was led by quarterback Darian Mensah, 265 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. Jared, you want to read what I wrote for you next?
I'll just go paraphrase. Carson Beck, the quarterback for Miami, 4 touchdowns, 240 yards in the air. He was hella good. David?
Yeah, Carson Beck was good. This was an impressive performance by the U, at least for as is tradition, about 3.5 quarters. The U was impressive before they started letting things slip away. Still held on, of course, for the win over Florida State. I was impressed by Carson Beck, but I was even more impressed by Malachi Tony. He's the standout wide receiver. His numbers didn't look all that impressive. The end of the day was 7 catches, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. But here's what I'm here to tell you. The 2 touchdowns were 40 and 44 yards apiece, and they could have gone for 340 yards if he wanted to. He was so far ahead of everybody else. His speed compared to the Florida State defense was remarkable. He just took over the game at key times, helping Miami get out to that big lead that was too much for the Seminoles come fourth quarter time.
All right, and for my player of the week, I'd be interested to know if Andrew's process stat sheet picked this one up this week, but I'm giving mine to the UVA defense in the tradition of giving it to whole team units. The UVA defense was key in their game against Louisville Cardinals last week. 2 defensive TDs in that game, fueled by Donovan Platt's 61-yard fumble return TD at the end of the first quarter, and Cam Robinson's 47-yard interception TD return, keyed in keeping UVA in the game against the Cardinals and helping take the game to OT, where UVA was victorious, keeping the NCAA playoffs in play and holding on to their very slim hopes and dreams of number 36.
Yeah, the stat boy only gave it to Cam Robinson, which
That's
is really too bad.
disappointing.
Yeah, it's really too bad. It did no nods for Platts at all in there, which seems like a pretty egregious drop by the old artificial stat boy.
All right. Well, these prior rankings are brought to you by the Deep Thoughts with Virtual Tailgate, which actually we're going to go ahead and postpone until next week because we're going to have a very special Virtual Tailgate Wheel of Ass game, which is like Wheel of Fortune, except it's much, much worse. Stay tuned, folks. You do not want to miss it. Tell your friends, get your family members, gather around your iPod or whatever you're listening to on this podcast, whatever device you're using. You don't want to miss this, folks. History is in the making tonight or today or tomorrow or whenever you're listening to this podcast. Without further ado, do number one, Miami, still at the top of the list. Florida State won 28-22 over Florida State. Number two, Georgia Tech, still there from last week. They had a bye. They got to enjoy watching everyone take a crap in the conference, except Miami. They're looking forward to their game against Virginia Tech this Saturday. Number three, UVA jumping up a spot after their impressive 30-27 win over Louisville in overtime. The UVA is truly making some noise in the conference. Something to keep an eye out for if you're a casual football fan or I don't know, like Zima. Number four, Duke football. Jumping up two spots after their 45-21 win over Cal. They went over to Berkeley. They punched those nerds in the teeth. And number five, dropping two spots, Louisville, the Cardinals. 30-27 lost to UVA. Bottom three, number 15 is Virginia Tech dropping a spot after their 30-23 self-destruction loss against Wake Forest and Blacksburg. The first time the Demon Deacons have won in Blacksburg, I think, since 1982. Yeah, there was still a Cold War going on then, and Ronald Reagan was still president. And more importantly, Ronald Reagan wasn't senile at that point. Number 16, Stanford, dropping a spot for being on a bye. Um, Sorry, Cardinal. Don't be a Cardinal, I guess, or have a tree as a mascot. Last but definitely the least, Boston College, the Eagles dropping a spot, being the dead last team in the conference, 48-7 drubbing from Pitt. It has everyone saying this to the Eagles.
Come on, you damn bird! Come and get me!
He clambered up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise.
Someone defecating.
And it looks like Jacksonville is burning down. The city is going to be gone, folks. Trevor Lawrence has just scored a touchdown. The ACC Clemson Player of the Year has just broken the hearts of Kansas City. Riots are breaking out. Hide your daughters.
Cats and dogs are living together.
Travis Kelce is divorcing Taylor Swift as we speak over this. This is just breaking news all over left and right, folks. You can't make this up. I mean, I'm not. I am, but you can't make this
You
up.
literally can. Yes.
Well, I
Yeah.
will say on Travis, like I'm not certain that my daughter was not more excited about Taylor Swift getting engaged than Taylor Swift was. I don't know how many other people can say that. I think a lot probably
I
actually.
think a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Well
Yeah.
said.
Like Taylor Swift may have been the least excited of like 100 million people to be engaged.
Who do you think is performing at Taylor Swift's wedding with Charles? Because you think Taylor Swift just gonna perform her like own music, like for the
Probably.
You don't have to have performances at a wedding.
wait what?
Did you? Like that was an unnecessary expense. If so, Jared, and that's someone
Andrew,
you don't have to hire a pop star.
Andrew, I hired David Hasselhoff, fresh
Okay,
from
well,
rehab.
I'm sorry. I take it all back. That was money well spent.
Yeah, he sang
That was fun. I take it back. That was fun.
he sang beautifully, and then he had a third bottle of wine. Then he kind of started taking his clothes off, and then it turned into like a little
No.
burlesque show. I mean, it was kind of nice.
David, why don't you move us on?
Yeah, are we ready to
Like,
talk about football? What's
Yes.
that? I don't really understand the order of this show or what even the genre subject of this podcast is.
Aren't we gonna go ahead and play the game that people
Not
wanna
until
watch?
after we get through these games quickly, Jared.
Okay.
We get through these games quickly.
All right, that
Stay
sounds good to
tuned,
me.
stay
Okay.
tuned.
So, first, a quick update on where we are in the season standings. The update is that there really is no update. Andrew is still dominating, most likely cheating. I don't know how. but some kind of way he is way, way ahead. Jared still way, way behind. That does not sound like cheating. The only competitor in the red on the season. Geoff and I are hanging out in the messy middle. We're going to try to make a run this week. There are 6 ACC matchups. We're going to talk through 3 of them and then do some quick fire bets on the other 3. The first one we're going to talk through is 3:30 on Saturday on the ACC network. The Hokies of Virginia Tech coming off a tough loss at home to Wake Forest, traveling on the road to Georgia Tech. I believe Georgia Tech was off this week, so they are well rested as the Hokies come to town. What do you see, boys? This is a 14.5-point spread in favor of the Yellow Jackets. Can the Hokies keep it closer than that? Is there any chance they pull off the victory?
The fact that the Hokies can lose this game by 2 touchdowns and still cover the spread has me taking Virginia Tech to cover the spread on this one. I also have to say, getting to see Georgia Tech take on someone after a bye week, Paul Johnson is smiling happily in retirement and somewhat, still upset because he used to complain about everybody else getting to take them on after the bye.
It's actually the first time Paul Johnson's ever smiled.
Yeah. But no, I like legitimately the fact that this game could be 28-14 and it's still a cover for Virginia Tech is the reason. Like Virginia Tech's not good, but Virginia Tech's not, 2 scores and a field goal worse than Georgia Tech, especially in the backdoor cover era that we've been seeing here these past few weeks, right, Geoff?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a little bit. I believe that part of what's going on with this one is that we've got a lot of excitement over Georgia Tech, rightfully so. They are sitting at 5-0. They've played really well in the season. I can't help but think that as much as we've dogged Virginia Tech, that they are not as ugly as the 2-3 record says they are. Now definitely they can make mistakes. The Wake Forest game last week, they should have ended up winning by 2 scores, ended up losing that game. But on the other hand, Georgia Tech has had struggles of their own with the Demon Deacons. So it's I think these are both 2 teams that have a tendency to let teams hang around sometimes when they're playing in conference games. I also think this kind of lends itself. These are 2 teams that have 2 of the highest, I believe. Well, definitely Georgia Tech with their history of rushing offense. One of the best rushing offenses in the league. Virginia Tech's isn't all that bad either, and they also both don't defend the run very well. So I think this is a game that's going to be decided on the ground, which I think also lends itself to closing that gap a little bit. You're not going to put up as many points if your game's being decided in a lower possession, longer drive, as opposed to a game that's being decided on a lot of long passes. So for a multitude of reasons, I think that Georgia Tech wins this game, but Virginia Tech, I believe, is better than what that spread is saying it is.
Yeah, y'all are wrong. Georgia Tech has had a week to prepare for this game. He learned their lessons. They had a common opponent that they had trouble with Wake Forest. They got to see what Wake Forest did at Virginia Tech. I'm telling you right now, that's going to translate to, I think, very valuable information. I think Georgia Tech takes care of business pretty quickly. I know uh, Georgia Tech has had some issues against unranked opponents for whatever reason. They do much better when they're playing against a ranked opponent. Um, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. Georgia, yeah, got to go down to Atlanta. It's not a great venue for visitors to go down to and play. Uh, I just don't see this being close. I think Virginia Tech, after that humiliating loss to Wake Forest, I think they're already thinking about how they're going to get to spend the holidays with their family at this point.
All right. Well, David is having some technical difficulties right now, but we do know that as he's going to say many times tonight, he is confident on the spread, but reaching for the money line for Virginia Tech in this game, which I think means that he agrees with everything that Geoff said, but he's saying that Virginia Tech's going to win anyway, which is always a fun place to be in. All right. Well, moving on to our next game here, we've got number 25 Florida State hosting the Pitt Panthers. That game has a spread of 8 and the hook in favor of Florida State right now. And Jared, you seem to be pretty confident that that State is going to dominate this game. Jared seems to have disappeared as well.
I don't know. I don't. Am I still here? Like, are we? Are we
Yeah,
dropping?
you're still here. Geoff, you're less confident, but you at least say that Florida State is going to win this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less confident, but for the moment, I still have audio here.
Yeah.
I kind of was ready to talk about how I'm sitting on the fence because I can't decide what I'm gonna do here. But this is a game I settled on Florida State in the money line. And I think it's because I basically had I basically wanted to take both what Andrew and David wanted to take, but couldn't commit. Um,
That's a pretty
eh,
far distance if you're going all the way to like Florida State money line from like
well, but,
Pitt
Flo-
money line.
but Florida State's but I don't think it's. But I think that's the problem, though, is that I'm not quite sold on. I can't quite commit to Pitt in the money line, but it would not surprise me if they manage to pull that off. I mean, if you were to show me the team that really took care of business against a BC team that is not Florida State, let's be honest. Um, I could see Pitt in the money line. If you were to show me the Pitt team that also didn't show up or played like two really subpar games, basically gave away the game against Louisville and West Virginia, teams that couldn't close, then I don't feel good about the money line because this is a Florida State team that has not, they're sitting at 3-2. And, obviously, the last couple of games are not the highlight of their season. They were on the verge of getting blown out by Miami until a fourth quarter comeback that made the game closer than it really was in reality. Uh, but it's still a team that is gonna be Pitt's, biggest challenge on this season, and I can't see Pitt just keeping it. I can see them keeping it close. I can't see them getting the job done, but with both of these teams, this is really a big challenge for both of these teams to test. Florida State, how are they going to recover from a couple of tough losses? Pitt, are they the team that took care of business against the Boston College team by 40 plus points, or the team that gave away games? So I settled on saying Florida State's going to find a way to win this game. I have no idea what that spread will be. I don't think Pitt comes out with the victory, but I have no idea what Pitt team's going to show up.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned in your analysis there, both David and I are going with Pitt on the money line, and I am thinking this is one of those. Maybe Florida State is a better team than they've shown more recently, but I'm thinking it's a little bit more of Florida State's dipping right now. Pitt has at least a little bit of an upward trajectory. I think there's just enough room for Florida State to get eclipsed by a surging Pitt team right now. Uh, David, how about you?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I don't know that we know that Pitt is good, but boy, they sure seem to find the answer at quarterback on Saturday. They turned to the true freshman, had the monster game and that big win over BC. I like them to keep this thing rolling. I also think we have seen some evidence that Florida State, the wheels can come off for the Seminoles. They did a couple years ago. They don't make the playoff. Everybody else out. They get slaughtered in their bowl game. And then a season ago, a rough start to the season just snowballs into a disaster of a campaign. I don't think it's crazy to think Florida State continues to stumble here. There's some real problems in Tallahassee if that happens. I think, Florida State has more talent. They are the better team. They should win this ball game, but I just have a gut feeling that Pitt gets the job done. And I don't think anybody will be shocked if that's what happens.
Uh, I got Florida State in the spread. We got to move along.
That's we gotta move along for any other reason than Jared doesn't want to defend his pick.
The man has done no work.
But anyway,
What do you want me to say? Well, geez, David, you sound right. Maybe I should change my mind. That's not how America works. Once I set my
I mean,
stand,
we do want you to defend your pick, but with a little less sarcasm, please.
And now just move on, David.
All right, here we go. I don't really think this is the game of the week, but it's the third game we're going to talk about.
But it's a game of a week.
It is a game this week.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, look at the
Wolfpack.
6 games on the slate and tell me which one is the game of the week.
I think it's that Pitt Florida State game we just talked about,
Okay,
but
okay.
I don't know. This is not a conference matchup, but it is a meeting of two interesting programs. NC State Wolfpack, um, up and down on the season. Coming off a thumping of Campbell this weekend after they were upset by the NC State Wolfpack. They are traveling to South Bend, taking on Touchdown Jesus and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This game's at 3:30 on Peacock. The Irish are 3 touchdown favorites in this one, and I gotta think that's too much. Surely none of us are taking Notre Dame and laying 21 in the hook, right?
I am. I um listen, I Notre Dame may be the best 2-2 team in the country. Can't even say that with a straight face. Um, uh, the at the end of the day, it's about talent level. I think NC State is gonna, be okay for like a half, but I just think Notre Dame realizes if they want any chance at being part of the college football playoff conversation, they gotta lay it on thick. Like they gotta beat the crap out of teams, and I think NC State is just gonna be a victim of that at the end of the day. I have not seen anything from the Wolfpack this year after a decent start where it looks like they're gonna rebound and get everything set up, ready to go. I just don't see that with the Wolfpack, and I just think they kinda just go up there and lay an egg. I see a pretty convincing win for the Fighting Irish and their mission of trying to get into the top 12 playoffs, for the playoffs.
21 and a hook is a huge spread for pretty much any 2 Power 4 teams that are playing against each other. I mean, I know it can happen, but on that alone, I have to pick, uh, NC State to at least cover on this. I feel like they they have shown flashes that will at least make me think that they can play, to a comparison level. They've certainly not gotten beat by anything close to that, by anyone, so far this season. Their loss to Duke was bad, but only a couple of touchdowns, separated them. I really do think, and having a good warm up game, tune up against Campbell this past week makes me think that that they ought to at least show up and make things interesting for Notre Dame. I do feel a little bad that I'm not going all the way on this pick here, because I did tell the guys earlier that the secret to my success is what would be the funniest outcome of any of these games. And David, you want to tell us about amusing outcomes to these games?
Well, I think it's always the amusing outcome to see Notre Dame go down. But I really do think that could happen in this one. I think uh, Notre Dame's defense, there are real questions about the Irish defense. And this is an NC State team that if you get into a shootout with them, they can put up points. CJ Bailey is the real deal. Hollywood Smothers is very exciting. I think if Notre Dame lets the pack hang around and keep scoring points, NC State gets the ball last, they win the game. I think a week from now, we're talking about a game ball for Hollywood Smothers after he puts up buck 50, 2 scores, including the game winner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go quite as I'm gonna hang with Andrew. I'm not gonna go quite as far as David is on this three score game here. Though I do have questions about Notre Dame. NC State may be a victim of you really just who they've played on the season, but it maybe is a super quiet 4-2 team at this midway point in the season. And I just reiterate what David said. I can't go quite as much to although I will say we talked about this a little bit earlier in the pre-show, the value pick for money lines, and sometimes you take a money line pick that seems out there, but the payoff is right, and it might be a long shot, but a plus 1,000 payout for the NC State. For NC State, I mean, I could that's tempting, 100 to get 1,000 back for it. I mean, that's I think this NC State team, I agree. I think they're gonna be feisty. They're going to hang around. They're going to cause the Fighting Irish problems And I just honestly think, to your point, David, there's too much firepower. There's too much offensive ability on that Wolfpack offense, irregardless of the defense limitations that the Wolfpack have this year, to think that they're going to lose a game by 21, 22 points. They might give up a whole lot of points. They might lose the game, but to lose by 3 scores seems like a stretch right now.
Again, Jared said that Notre Dame needed to beat the pants off of teams to get to where they're going. Beating a team by 3 scores is beating the pants off of them. NC State still covers. All right, on to quick fire bets. Wake Forest is going to cover that spread of 2.5 over Oregon State because why not? Geoff.
All right, I've got SMU. I think, what is it, minus 19.5. I think is the line that I saw. Makes me nervous. SMU has underperformed. Stanford comes in with one of the worst offenses and worst defenses in the ACC. This should be a get right game for the Mustangs.
I've got the Clemson Tigers minus 12.5 over BC. This is not because I like Clemson. It's because Boston College may be the worst ACC team we've seen in quite a while. Those guys look very, very bad. Clemson looked like they got right against North Carolina over the weekend. They'll look to keep it going. Cade Klubnik had a monster game on Saturday. I'm surprised he didn't garner any attention for a game ball. He was incredibly accurate, played very well. I think the Tigers continue that, get the big win over BC.
And since there's no other games for me to pick, I went ahead and said my ass cheeks covered a spread of 3 in the hook dumps this upcoming weekend. So I think that's easy money, folks. Take advantage of it. Put your money in and put it in that trust fund because it's going to make bank. Those flashbacks.
Bankrupt Jared. He has to pay all those out.
I would just ask for it not to be in physical cash is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, we have all this time left over, folks. I guess we could either end the podcast early or we could play a game that's going to revolutionize
early.
Or we could play a game that's going to revolutionize the podcast.
We are going to make it a post-show game, Jared. That's it for the main show, the Virtual Tailgate.
Oh
Stick around for the game after the show.
Oh my God.
Do the game after the show, Jared.
We'll do it live.
As always.
That's ball game.